Hello, everyone, and welcome to watching season 1 of King's Court, reviewing and recapping episode 8. Okay, so let's just jump right into it. Okay, so the episode basically started off with the remaining folks that were in the house. They were having breakfast, and I guess they were just discussing the night before, the elimination from the night before. And then Thaddeus mentioned that it was hard for him because he did send Brianna home, and he mentioned, hey, I was having a good connection with her, but it was a little too late, for us to build that connection. So, he was, saying, hey, it was disappointing that he had to send her home. And then, of course, he felt like he was now in like a little love triangle. And I feel he was referring to Dr. Ariel and Dr. Kalia, because those are his two main interests up to this point now. And then, of course, Catherine, the camera panned to Catherine, and of course, in her confessionals, she did say she was starting to develop a connection with Thaddeus. So I was like, okay. I think last week I mentioned it was probably Tyson, but it seems like, it's Thaddeus that her connection is with. And then the host came in a little bit after, I think the next day now, or maybe it was a little bit later. She came in, Holly Robinson Pete, and she was telling them that she was going to send them on a road trip, but the road trip was going to be a little different. So it was going to be a scavenger hunt road trip. So she was going to send them to different parts because this show is being filmed in Atlanta. So she was going to send them to different parts of Atlanta, kind of like a discovery. That way, whenever they went to each point, they could take a picture. And I thought, it was a great idea, I thought, because some of the ladies aren't from Atlanta. So it's just a good way to get them out the house and to see Atlanta, to see, some of the sites. A lot of times you don't get to see some of the sites that make a city the city, or that makes that city important, So I thought that was good that she kind of did that. That would be a fun thing for the ladies. Let's see. So she did give the gentlemen the opportunity to choose the ladies that they wanted to go with them on this road trip, which was good. It was like a way for them to kind of get to know each other. And so they each get to choose. Thaddeus chose Kalia, Dr. Kalia. He chose Dr. Ariel, and he also chose Catherine. And Carlos, he chose Jennifer and Janae. And then Tyson chose Felicia and Allison. Okay, so I have to say, last week, I didn't even mention Allison because I legit didn't even think she was still there. Like, I don't know, like, because when he said Allison, I was like, Allison? Did they even show her on last week's episode at all? I don't even think they showed her at all. Like, I was just really surprised because she didn't even, like, for some reason, she wasn't even part of my count. I didn't think she wasn't even part of my count of the remaining ladies that were still there. So I think last week I thought there was only 6 ladies left. And so I was trying to figure it out. So that's really interesting. When he said that, I was like, whoa, she is still there. I guess she never got eliminated. They just haven't been showing her other than when she did the talent show. Like, I don't think I've seen her on camera since. Okay, but so that's that. So that were the people that they chose to go with. So the scavenger hunt, I think Allison was in the car because she was in the car with Felicia and Tyson, and she mentioned that she found it interesting. She found it interesting that they didn't know because they get to talking. This is the whole point of this as well. You get to talking, trying to talk to each other, figure some stuff out. You're outside the house and you can be a little bit more open, or maybe you feel like you can be a little bit more open. You're doing things together. You're finding out things about each other. So she found it interesting that during this conversation, while they're in the car, she found it interesting that she's like, Tyson and Felicia, she's like, they don't know much about each other, like what she considered to be basic information. I guess they started talking about animals, and I guess they didn't realize that they each had animals. And so she was like, they don't know that about each other. The lady, and I guess she mentioned it because she's like, she's a lady who's been sitting on his lap every night. How does she not know about, these information about him. And I was like, you know what, maybe you forget, because maybe she wasn't there, but at the very beginning, I have a really bad memory, but if I remember correctly, unless he did it in a confessional, but I could have sworn Tyson told all the ladies, but maybe it was just in the confessional. He told all the ladies that he had a dog, because that was the breakup. That was one of his breakup stories of why, he is away with women. I guess he was overseas, and he came back from overseas and found the girl that he thought he was like in love with or whatever. He found the man that she's now with walking his dog. So, and I could have sworn that was the story. So I was like, everyone know he has a dog. But again, I may be wrong. It may be in the confessionals that he did that but I thought all the ladies knew, because he said that. But I don't think Allison was there at that point. I think she may have came later. But either ways, I may be wrong again. But, she has a point. Maybe they just don't know a lot about each other. But at the end of the day, I did notice Felicia was definitely asking Tyson a lot of questions. And he was responding, but he wasn't asking her questions back. And I found that interesting, because I'm like, if somebody asks you a question, they're asking you these questions to develop conversation, to find out about you. And in response, you turn around and ask them the same, or you build on those questions. That's how you're going to have those conversations. That's how the conversation is going to go further. If I ask you, how many dogs do you have? And you just say 5. The conversation ends there. Then I say, well, how many jackets do you have? You're like 3. That's not a conversation. That's an interview. And it seems like she was doing that a lot, and he wasn't giving back. When he answered, he should say, because she asked him, and even in the car, she's like, how many cars do you have or whatever? And he said like he had 4 or something like that. He should have expounded on that and been like, I have 4, but one of them is really my baby. I like the Jag so much better. I drive that around all the time, and I even named it. I named my blue Jag this, that, and the other. I don't know if he's a blue Jag. I'm just saying, okay? It's like, but that's how you develop those conversations. That's how the conversation become deeper. It doesn't become deeper like overnight. It doesn't become deeper without there's a back and forth. And I did notice that she did seem to be trying to get information out of him, and he just gave her the answers to the question without expounding on anything. That's what I noticed about their relationship. And let's see. And then, of course, there's Jennifer. She said that she was feeling like the third wheel because she was in the car with Carlos and Janae. She said she was feeling like a third wheel in the scavenger hunt. And I was like, I feel you, girl. She looked like their little child that, was coming along with them. So I understand how she was feeling. And then there was Thaddeus's crew, and they looked like they were having fun in the car. They looked like they were kind of focused and looked like they kind of wanted to win. So they were very focused. So they all did the scavenger hunt, and of course Thaddeus's team won. And so when they got back from the hunt, Holly Robinson Pete was there to greet the gentlemen, and she made them choose one woman that they felt kind of made an impression during the scavenger hunt on them that day, and then they would get to take them like out on a date. And so the woman that Carlos chose was, surprise, surprise, Janae. And then Tyson, he chose Felicia. No surprise there. And then Thaddeus, he chose Catherine, which, there was a little bit of a, like, I was surprised he chose Catherine, but then I also wasn't surprised. So I was, it was like, I was surprised, yes, like, oh, Catherine? But then I was like, oh, Catherine makes sense, because during that scavenger hunt, he was like, she plays chess, so she'll be kind of useful in this. He was saying how she'd probably be really like good in that scavenger hunt. And as you know, he likes a competitive woman. He's mentioned that before. He likes people that are competitive, and he likes to win. He's all about winning. So for him, that gave her an edge, because he felt like maybe she was using those skills to help them win. So he was like, okay, well, with her chess playing skills and her trying to find stuff in her competitive edge that she got going on, that would be nice and helpful. So I think with that, he was like, and he hasn't had a chance to really, out of all the women, he hadn't a chance to develop any type of relationship with her. So I think it kind of was like, it makes sense now with the date, how the day went, and the fact that he hadn't had a chance to develop his relationship with her, why he chose her. Um, so I guess that night they were getting ready for their dates, and there was like a little incident between Dr. Kalia and Catherine. Let's see. So Dr. Kalia, well, Catherine and Thaddeus, they were in a room. She was getting dressed. They were like having a little conversation, kind of like the pre-party to their date type thing. So they were, kind of chatting. She was like, I want to get to know you better. Focus on me tonight. They were doing that type of thing in there. So Dr. Kalia, I guess she must have just gotten out the shower because she came in, she had her little bathrobe on. She was going to get her clothes because she was like, this is where I keep my clothes. So I'm coming in to just grab some stuff. So she came in, she grabbed some clothes, and then she went over to Thaddeus and kind of kissed him on the forehead. So Catherine, who was there, because that's the start of their date, right? So she was there like, ma'am, like, what's going on? Like, you see us in here, we're having this moment, we're doing our thing. Like, the fact you could, I'm thinking she thought, you could have come and just grab your clothes and go, but then you had to stop and kiss him on the head with a towel around your body. So I think she felt like, she said she thought that was Dr. Kalia's way of attempting to play chess. Okay, she thought, and she felt it was disrespectful, and I kind of agree with her in that aspect, because I was like, Dr. Kalia, she could have gotten her stuff, say, excuse me, y'all, I know you're in here getting ready for the date. Don't mind me. I'm gonna grab my stuff and I'm gonna walk out, enjoy your night, and leave it at that. Because it is a dating competition, yes, but we still gotta show a little bit of respect to other people, or don't try to make people feel uncomfortable. We're still, ladies. And I felt like with the chess playing piece, what she said, I felt like, yeah, she know what she was doing, because if we just get out the shower, we are smelling good. I like the way my soap smells, and I like that fresh scent that I have. And, a kiss on the forehead is a very, intimate, I care for you type kiss. And to do that, to walk in with a towel, smoothly walk over, knowing you are smelling good and fresh, knowing that smell is going to waft up in his nose, kiss him on the forehead, ma'am. Yeah, you kind of know what you were doing. So I kind of feel her. Yeah, it's a competition, but maybe that wasn't quite the moment. So I understand why Catherine was a little bit bothered by that. I understand. So Carlos's date with Janae went very well for both of them. Okay, Carlos told Janae that he was falling in love with her. I was like, okay, and Janae said she was falling in love with him too. I was like, okay. Then he asked her, he was like, do you want to be my girl? I thought that was cute. Do you want to be my girlfriend? I want you to be my girlfriend. Of course. She was like, okay. She was like, yes. Yeah, so to me, this is a cute story for them. I know if some people got their own opinion on people, right, out here, because you see, I look at little stuff, and some people may be like, oh, maybe he's changed, and he's not. He said he's changed, so we're not even gonna go there. We're just gonna enjoy the moment and hope he's a better man for her, and his past is his past. Okay, we're just gonna hope, okay, and pray, and just be happy for them, because I thought this was very cute, because it was love at first sight, like pretty much love at first sight. Okay, because remember when he came in, he saw her, and that was it. He did follow the process and try to talk to other people, try to give people a chance, even though she was not having that. She would insert herself when she could, and I get that as well. But she was still respectful. I do. Janae was always respectful when these other, like, she would do things, but it was just like letting him know she was there. But it wasn't anything I felt like that was disrespectful to the other woman. So, but she would always like let him know, like, I'm here, I'm interested, it's me. So for both of them, I felt like it was like they came and they saw and they bought whatever they were both trying to sell each other, and it worked. Okay, it worked, and I thought it was cute. So I'm happy for them, and I hope it lasts. I hope outside of this, at the end, you know, they still end up choosing each other because there may be like a week or two left of this show. So I hope in the end, like we're seeing that they chose each other, and then it's announced that they've been with each other since, like, once this is all over, because we don't know. Like, I think this show was probably filmed maybe even a year ago or something. So who knows how this show's been filmed a while back, right? So, or 6 months back, however long the show has been filmed. So hopefully they're still together. And they still choose each other at the end. Like at the end, they still chose each other. Okay, I think I said that like 3 times. Okay, so now for Thaddeus' date, he told her, because she asked him, she was like, well, why do you have an attraction to me, or why do you like me, or whatever she asked. And he was like, he liked her because she's competitive and she speaks her mind. Then it's like he went in on her. Like he went in on her after that. He was like, but, okay, I didn't like how you reacted to the situation with Dr. Kalia earlier. He said he didn't like her actions. And then I guess, I don't know what happened, but he was like, he didn't like the fact that she told the group about the situation. So that's what it sounded like he said to me. I played it back again and I was like, he's like, I didn't like that you told the group. So I'm thinking that's what he said. So she must have told people about the situation, and he probably felt like, that situation was just the 3 of us, and you could have told me how you felt versus telling the group how you felt. And of course she said, well, I ask you what you think about me. I don't want to talk about Dr. Kalia. Like, we're not talking about her right now. Like, I'm asking you what you think about me and how you feel about me. Like, why are we even bringing her up, and why are you even saying this, and they had a little back and forth for a little bit, and then she asked if he was liking this, if he felt like they were on a date with this arguing back and forth. And even watching it on screen, I felt really uncomfortable. I was like, yikes. Then he got up and he left the date. He was like, no, this don't feel like a date. And he got up and left. And she was like, and I had to say, like, I just don't understand. Like, I get what she was saying too. Like, I was like, yeah, I'm asking about me. Like, well, let's not involve anybody else. Like, what are you talking about? You don't like how I reacted to something else, or what are you talking about? The way, so I could understand that she stood up for herself, because he kind of like tried to do the same thing to Dr. Ariel, and I peeped that like a few episodes ago. Like, he tried to do the same thing to Dr. Ariel. Like, I don't like how you did this. Like, I don't like let a woman be a woman. Sometimes you may not like how things are being done, but it is what it is. Now, granted, I don't know. In this situation, from what I said, I think I heard him say, I didn't like you went back and tell the group. I can understand a little bit, like just a little bit. I can see like what he's saying, like, hey, I didn't like, it's just the way he was talking to her. I didn't like that. To me, I felt he was talking to her like she is a child. And I don't like that. I don't like when men talk to women like they're a child. Like, I got to put you in your place. I've got to tell you how to behave and how to act, and you shouldn't act this way. And, like, you're not their father. So I didn't like that. But I was like, well, did she go back and she was telling people this or whatever? Because some men are like that. They're very, very private, and they don't want, like, if they feel like their women are gossips, they're not into that. Like, I don't need you going back and I don't need you going back and being a run tell that type woman. Like, everything we gotta run tell that. We gotta go tell this person, go to, like, I could see what he's saying in like just a little bit, but it's the way how he came off in that conversation. I just was not feeling it, because like I said, I felt the same way when he was talking to my girl, Dr. Ariel, like that. And I was like, sir, I am not having this. Okay. So, yeah. So back to the dates now. So Tyson and Felicia, they were having their date as well. And they were, having like a massage date and whatnot. And I noticed one thing on this date. I noticed Felicia was just doing a lot of the, question asking. And I'm just like, why is she doing most of the question asking? You know what I'm saying? Like, again, like, She was at, and he was just giving her one word answers. And then in his confessional, he was like, yeah, I know we got the hot and heavy. I know we got the physical attraction, but can we go deeper? I was like, sir, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? She clearly can go deeper. It's, can you go deeper? Sometimes it's up to you. Yeah, there may be a woman that may be able to pull it, no, and get all those questions and have you answer like on open-ended questions to you. But I literally see her trying to make those conversations with you. I see her doing that. Even on this date, she was asking questions, and because Felicia just rattles off these questions. She rattles them off, but I see what she's doing. She's trying to get she's trying to get responses back. And you're answering her, but you're not, and okay, I can understand with a child, we don't ask, we don't ask yes, no questions to a child. You try to ask open-ended questions because then they'll just give you one word response, right? You don't ask like you'll be like, what did you do at school today? Versus, did you have lunch? Yes. Did you do math? Yes. Did you finish your homework? No. You say you have to ask those questions open-ended. So, but in an adult conversation, unless we're not interested in the other adult, we know those questions that we ask sometimes constitute more, especially when we're dating. And I ask you certain questions, it's just like, yeah, I want you to answer more. If I ask you, do you own a home? You say, yes. And then do you stop there? Do you wait for me to kind of question you about your homeowner's process? Do you wait for me to go, well, when did you buy this home? What kind of loan did you get for this home? Did you have to get a loan for this home? Did you do this? Did you do that? No, I ask it. I was like, oh, do you own a home? It's like, oh, yes. And I'm a proud homeowner. I always wanted to buy a house, and I finally was able to buy a house in this neighborhood. Then the conversation goes from there. As adults, we don't have to, even though we ask those kind of like yes, no questions, are kind of like one word questions where a one word answer would suffice, we still know we're asking those questions to build on conversation. So anyways, that's just my thought on that. Because when he said that in the confessional, I literally I sat on my couch and watched this. I was like, sir, she's been trying. You need to give more. You need to give more. Okay? And Tyson, I don't have a problem with you. I know it probably sounds like I have a problem with you. I don't. Because I know this is your dating experience and this is y'all's dating experience. But just watching this, I'm just like, come on, man. Come on. Give them more. Give these ladies more. Okay? You can do it. Okay. So while they're having their date, this video is going to be longer than I thought. I was going to try to keep it to 25 minutes. While they're having their date, Catherine, she barged in telling them that her date was ruined, and how Thaddeus walked. They're like, ma'am, read the room. We're in here having a romantic massage. We don't give a damn. I was like, it was weird that she did that. I was like, girl, what is going on? Like, I don't understand, like, what is happening right now. This must be some weird way how she handles, like when she must have to be one of those people who have to talk about an issue. Like, she can't just, like, sit on it for a little bit. She has to, like, if she's mad or angry about something, she has to let someone know immediately. Because if she holds it in, it may, like, she just may be one of those people. Because it was like, they were just like, yeah, can you put the food down? And, like, like, can we... She's came with food. They're like, yeah, can we just do this another time? Then it didn't end there, y'all. It didn't end there. Then she went in and did the same thing on Carlos and Janae's date. Janae was like, this ain't the vibe, Catherine. This ain't the vibe. What are you doing? Oh, goodness. I'm actually laughing. It's like, I was like, what is Catherine doing? What is this girl doing? Like, no, they're having, and she didn't know, but they're having, each of these people respectively are having their own dates. Like, they don't want another person in their date. Like, what are you doing here? Especially Janae and Carlos, they're having their moment of, making it official, being a couple. They're not trying to have this. They're trying to kiss and drink their champagne and do their thing and hug up and have conversations. They're not trying to see somebody else come with their problems at this moment. So I was like, and then I was thinking, I was like, that conversation with Thaddeus earlier where he was like, I didn't like how you went and tell the group. I was like, is this what he's talking about? Does he notice something with you going back to tell the group like everything? Or maybe he's like, and maybe that was like one of those things that was the final straw for him. Like, girl, I noticed you tell the group a lot, like every time you going back. Like maybe, and maybe he shouldn't have done it in that instance, like for that particular, but maybe it was just like, I noticed you did that and I didn't like that. But again, I didn't like how he talked to her. We're not doing that. Okay. But maybe he saw something because she was doing a lot of run tell that with with this situation. Um. So, but okay. So, anyways, later on, I guess Thaddeus, she was at the pool, and Thaddeus, I guess, stopped by to apologize. You know, which he should, and I respect that. Okay, because yeah, she deserved an apology. You're both adults. You do not need to walk. First of all, don't tell a grown woman how to operate and how to be. And second of all, you know, she didn't deserve you walking out on that date with her. You know, continue to have that conversation. Let her know exactly what you mean, because I wanted to know exactly what was going on. And she may be just as confused as me because, like you said, it was mentioned in something, not exactly the situation that happened, but an aftermath of the situation. So she may not, she may just be like, I don't know, I don't want to deal with that right now. I'm just trying to be in the moment with you. So she did accept his apology. And then of course she requested that he leave her presence so she could pray. And I was like, huh, okay. So now we're going to the elimination dinner. So they invited Allison and Jennifer and Catherine, the same people that I figured they would invite to the elimination dinner. And of course, Tyson told Allison that she's so elegant and he doesn't know when and how to approach her. And I was like, oh, that's sweet. And again, it just made me think like she has a very mature air to her. So is it that mature quality in a woman? Is that something that you're just not used to? Not that any of the other women aren't, but I'm like, what is it that would make you be intimidated by her? Because I don't see grown men being intimidated by mature women. You know, I don't see that being an intimidation. It's either I like you or you don't. You're my cup of tea. But that he didn't say I'm intimidated now. Don't get me wrong. But the way he said it was definitely an intimidation factor involved. Okay. Let's see. What else? Okay. And then Catherine and Thaddeus spoke again, and they expressed that they both could do better. You know, I think they did like another apology. Then they expressed to each other that they both could do better with expressing themselves and so on. And she stated that, you know, she's still interested in Thaddeus, and I was like, oh, okay. It is what it is. I don't know. For me, I'm just like, maybe I do things differently, because I'm like, once I feel like somebody is like kind of being like, you know, I don't like how you do this and this, that, and the other. I don't know. That kind of like, that turned me off a little bit. Like, I can't see myself with you after that. Like, how are you going to be? But that's just me. And maybe that's something I need to work on, you know? But Catherine seems very open. She seems very like, you know, I'm willing to forgive and I'm willing to see past certain things and this, that, and the other. So she seemed like that type of character, you know, like I'm willing to see past certain flaws and I'm willing to look past certain flaws. Like we can work on it. We can, you know, she seemed like that person. So, you know, it is what it is. But she said she was still interested. And then Jennifer, and this is all the elimination dinner, okay? I think I mentioned that, but yeah, this is all the elimination dinner. Jennifer told Tyson that she is interested in him. Okay, so now it's time to send people home. So Thaddeus did end up sending Kath home, you know, and, you know, she was like, I enjoyed my time. Thank y'all. And thank y'all. I appreciate being here or whatever, and I wish everybody well. And then, of course, Carlos, he, you know, he kept Jennifer, not for himself, but he was like, he felt like maybe the time that he took to spend with Jennifer, that could have been time that Tyson had with her. So he was like, you know what? I'm going to give you the opportunity to stay and maybe explore that with him. So he did that. So he asked her to stay for that reason. And then, of course, Tyson, kept Allison. I didn't see that, but he did. He kept Allison, and I was like, okay, I can see maybe we can develop something, but you have all these other connections. How are you gonna juggle? To me, how are you gonna juggle these connections that you have? Because you have, oh, I mean, here's Dr. Kalia and Dr. Ariel, who are your top connections, and now you have Jennifer in the mix, and now Allison. You know, it's just like, so now Tyson has 4 women in the mix, kind of staying for him, and then Thaddeus has his 2, which is Dr. Ariel and Dr. Kalia. So I don't know. I don't know how it's gonna go down. And for Thaddeus, I don't know. Like, he's got, I don't know. It's interesting to me because for someone who, I don't know, for someone who likes to kind of, I feel like, tell women how to behave, so to speak, because he, again, like I said, and I just go off that based off the situation with Dr. Ariel and now with Catherine, and him saying he didn't like certain behaviors that I didn't deemed to be like over, you know, to be like too crazy for a woman to do, and he's telling them like he don't like his woman being this or doing that. Like, for me, I'm just like, you want these strong women with strong personalities. Like, are you able to handle all of that? Like, because Dr. Kalia and Dr. Ariel, they seem like very strong personalities. These are women that they don't take crap from nobody. They work hard to get to where they've been, and they've probably done some, like, I know what I want. They're assertive. They're competitive. They don't play. Like, so it's just like how are you going to balance it with what you want? You know, Thaddeus, how are you going to balance it with these type of women that I don't see them changing? These women are in their late 30s, early 40s, you know, and they're good women, you know, so I don't know, maybe there's got to be some self-reflection on your part with the type of woman that you do want, and, you know, and maybe what you can handle what from these women. But yeah, that's it. So Tyson has his 4 women that he's going to have to juggle. Let's see how that goes. And then Thaddeus has his 2 that he's going to have to juggle. So let's see how that goes next week. So thank y'all for joining me. I hope you enjoyed the recap, the review. Let me know what you think. Thank you. And subscribe. Thank you.